What's up, everyone? I'm James Young with JamesYoungPhotography.com, and I'm bringing you episode number 23 of Teach Me How to Lightroom. Today, we're taking a look at this real-world wedding shot here that I took last fall, and we're getting moody with the edit. We're going to be inspired a little bit by the Vsco presets, and we're going from here to here. Now check it out. Don't forget, there's a link in the description to the raw file to this exact image so you can follow along. Or maybe you think the image should go in a completely different direction. I'd love to see it. Post it on social media. All of my information is down there below as well. Well, let's hit reset and let's get right into the edit. Okay, so right off the bat, you can see here, I'm already pretty happy with the total exposure here. I'm totally happy with the composition we got in camera. So there's not a lot of exposure editing we have to do. But what we want to do is bring out all the warm tones and kill any cold tones that are in the image at all. So check this out. Let's start with our basic edit here. With the contrast, we're gonna bump this up just a little bit, about plus 35. For the highlights, we wanna bring those down just a little bit, about 25 on those. Then on the shadows, we wanna increase those just a little bit, about 25 on those as well. Going to the right side, and that's just gonna open up the shadows a little bit, give us some more information in the pixels to mess around with here later on in the edit. With the whites, I'm totally happy with the whites where they're at in camera. We're not changing those. With the blacks, we're gonna come down on those just a little bit, and that's gonna increase our total contrast in the image quite a bit. So we're going about minus 55 on there. So that lays kind of a basic foundation of where we're going with this edit. As we move down to the presence, we're gonna take the clarity and drag that down only to about minus 10. That's gonna reduce the total contrast in the edges where a lot of the midtones fall. And that also helps with smoothing out skin quite a bit. The last thing we're gonna do with our total contrast here is in the tone curve. We're gonna click right next to the label of the point curve, click linear, and take it to medium contrast. And then we're gonna come back to the tone curve here in just a minute. So now we have to start color grading this image. And the color grading is where we get the entire, like the Moody Vsco type look. And the way we're gonna start off with that is we're gonna take our vibrance and we're gonna cut vibrance down just a little bit. So we're gonna go about minus 20 on vibrance. Then on the saturation, we're gonna go down a little bit less to about minus 15. And what that does is it just cuts down the total amount of color information found in all the pixels. Now from here, we're gonna go up to the color temperature and start adding warm tones to the entirety of the image. So you can see here, we're set at about 4650 Kelvin. That's how the camera read the scene. So we're gonna add a little bit of warmth to that. Let's go up to about, let's do 5650. I like where that landed us, very warm. You can see here, it's already taking a lot of the shape of the look. Let's look at before and where we're at so far. It's already looking really good. So now let's correct the colors a little bit here on the grading, and we're gonna scroll down to HSL. And that's just short for the hue, saturation, and luminance. Now with our saturation, one thing I've noticed in this edit is that there's just a little bit of red tones found in their skin, and red's not really the best skin tone you can have. So let's cut it down just a little bit, about minus 30 or so. Now you wanna be really careful about adjusting the saturation in skin tones. Watch this, I'm gonna zoom in and I'll turn this off and turn it back on. It's very subtle, but that's the point. You don't wanna be the person that turns people into zombies by cutting down like the orange and the reds completely. Just don't be that photographer. Nope. So let's do about minus 30 here. And then on the orange, we're just gonna do about minus 10. So that just cuts a little bit of that excess saturation found on their skin tones. And then another important aspect of this look is really cutting out all of the cold tones. So your aquas, blues, and magentas and things like that. So we'll start here on the aquas and we'll come down to about minus 40 or so. And then from there, we're gonna take all the other corresponding cold tones, and we're gonna make sort of a curve here. And the reason why we do that is because we don't wanna run into any weird kind of clipping with the various tones involved. So you can see here I've created a little bit of a curve, and we've dramatically cut down any cold tones that might be seeping into the image. So if we turn this off and turn it back on, you can see it's a very subtle effect, and if there were more cold tones found in the image, like when you use it as a preset later on, it could make an even more of a substantial change. Okay, awesome. I love the way this looks. The last thing I want to do in regards to the preset is give it a matte finish. So we're going to mute the blacks, and we're even going to mute a little bit of the highlights. Now check this out. We're back at the tone curve. To give it a matte finish, we're going to double click on the node second from the left, and that's just going to completely remove it. So that gives us just a little bit more wiggle room when we're messing with the tone curve. So then what we do is we take the point that's all the way to the left, and we're just gonna click and drag this up. And for this look, we're gonna go up pretty high. There we go. And then to do that on the highlights, what we do is we take the point all the way to the right and we drag it down, just the opposite direction. Now look at this. Look at how powerful the tone curve is. Let me turn this off and turn that on. All we did was move a couple of nodes here on the graph, and we've substantially changed the image. Let me turn it back off and turn it back on. That's a huge change. And I definitely think giving it a matte finish really just sets this look in the right direction. Now to totally round it out, let's scroll back down here to the effects, and we're gonna give it a very, very slight vignette, maybe about -15 or so, maybe -10. Let's make the midpoint a little bit further in, so it's very, very subtle. So let's turn that off and turn it back on. Oh, that looks gorgeous. So let's check this out. You can see the before on the left and then the after on the right. And if you like the way this looks, you can always press plus on your presets here, create a new preset. I'll just put in user presets here, click create. And let's say you lose all your progress somehow, and literally with one click, you get something that's really close to a final product. Now again, a preset, like I just said, it's not the final product. It's gonna get you close, but it's really just the foundational piece of your edit. Now you could even take this a step further if you'd like, and really give it like a vintage type look, and you could add grain. And you can go in and you can add as much grain as you want, and you can make your image look like you didn't use an expensive camera that reduces all the noise. Isn't that great? No, but seriously, if you do want to add that look, the grain tool is right there, and you can slide that thing all the way to your heart's content. So that's our edit. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like. And if this is your first time checking out these videos, it would be super cool if you subscribed. Well, I'm James Young with JamesYoungPhotography.com, and this is Teach Me How to Lightroom.